Welcome back to a new lecture. Now, in this lecture, I'm going to talk about the habits of success. In another lecture, I mentioned my book, which is called The Habits of Success. Don't listen to me, listen to them. If you didn't go through that lecture yet, when you're going to get to it, you're going to see that I told you to, look through the resources and find the book. It's called The Habits of Success and read it as it's really important. And it will teach you about a lot of habits of some of the most successful people in the world. And it'd be really good if you want to, take some notes and take some of those habits and start implementing them in your life. The top leaders in the world, they take time out of each and every day to do those habits because those habits are highly effective. So don't listen to me, listen to them. But in case you don't enjoy reading and you don't think it's a habit that you want to establish, I'm going to quickly go through some of the top habits that top leaders in the world have in case you want to take some of those out and try implementing them in your life. The first habit is reading. I know. I just told you that if you don't like reading, you can skip the book and just watch this lecture. But I want to emphasize that reading is important. Reading is probably one of the most important habits you can ever pick up. I really don't know any successful people in my life who did not pick up the habit of reading, of nourishing their brain and learning more and expanding their knowledge and their expertise and skill sets. Obviously, reading is one of the most important habits you want to establish. Whatever book you're trying to read, you will always learn something new and advance in a certain direction. The other habit that is also essential, and in this course, you will find a resource called the Habit Tracker that I talked about before, if you remember, which is going to help you organize and schedule your habits. But I'm not just talking about habits, I'm talking about organizing your day and your goals properly. When you have a schedule or an organizer that you can follow, it will organize your everyday life. And remember that failing to plan is planning to fail. I can tell you right now, I had so many of my clients who never had goals, or who had goals and they never wrote them down, they never followed up in organizing and scheduling them. And I talked about this research in a previous lecture, if you also remember, but I'll go through it again really quickly. There was a research done by the University of Harvard on a bunch of students, and basically the researchers wanted to know if students had fixed goals or not. And about 80% of the students didn't have goals. They didn't really know what they were aiming for, what they're trying to do. About 17%, maybe a bit less, they had goals. I'm not really sure of the numbers anymore. They had goals, but they didn't write them down, right? So they had goals in their brain. They knew what they wanted to do. A person wanted to be an engineer. This wanted to be a doctor. The other guy wanted to work in a marketing firm. So they had goals in their head, in their brain, and they knew what they wanted. And only 3% of the students had goals that are actually written down. So they took the time to write down those goals and organize them and schedule the goals and work on them. And after some, few years or a bit more passed, the researchers got all those people again and they did another research. And they found that the 3% of people, listen to this, the 3% of people who had goals that are written down acquired more wealth than the 97% combined. And this is not fictional. This is not a magic trick. You can go and Google the Harvard research. It was one of the most mind-blowing moments for me in my life when I was younger and I read about this research and I did not have any goals of my own. I was like, I'm doing something wrong. Like if 3% of people were able to accumulate more wealth than the 97% of people combined, that says something about setting goals and committing them to paper. Committing them to paper as in organizing your goals and then scheduling, breaking down those goals and organizing and scheduling what you need to work on every day, every week, every month, every year until you get to your big goal, your objective, or your vision. Now, I also want to talk about mental improvement. And this is kind of broad. It's a broad title because it encompasses different habits. you need to take care of your mind. Just like you go to the gym to train your body, you need to take some time off every day to train your mind and take care of it. It is the most powerful tool that you have. So here are some habits I would recommend. Journaling. Journaling is very effective. A lot of people love journaling, especially those who enjoy writing and those who, tend to be creative. When they start journaling, they start writing down those creative ideas, which make them a lot more engraved in their brain. And that's a resource you can access in the future. And it's just a good way to expand your creativity and take care of your mind. And another obvious mental health improvement habit, which is meditation. Well, meditating, whatever the form is, it might be meditation or mindfulness if you want, whether you meditate, and there's a lot of different exercises. The Tony Robbins priming exercise, you can look it up on YouTube. I highly recommend it. I personally do it every single day, and I absolutely love it. I had a lot of my clients who did it, and I kid you not, I had people who called me and they told me that they were crying. And not crying because they were sad, but they were crying because they realized how much energy they have inside and what they're capable of doing. So that's an exercise I would highly recommend. Otherwise, meditation in general, whether you use an app on your phone like Headspace or Calm, or even just go on YouTube and search for a guided meditation. Or if you're familiar with meditation and you've done it in the past, you can just pick up the habit again and start doing it. And the next thing is brain games. Brain games are so essential. People download a lot of games on their phones that are, that really waste their time. And there are some apps, some specific apps. One is called Impulse, if I'm not mistaken. The one I personally use is called Peak, P-E-A-K. And I use it every single morning before I start doing my work. It gives you 5 exercises. It takes about 15 minutes and it works on different parts of your brain. Coordination, mental agility, emotions, coordination, and it's just brilliant, right? And if you do that every day, like imagine yourself every single day training your brain for 15 minutes. In 1 year or in 6 months, there's going to be significant change in the way your brain functions. So that's very important. Focusing and implementing habits that work on mental improvement. Now, it's also important to work on physical improvement. Take care of your body and your health. Of course, things like going to the gym or a run, keeping a good balanced diet and working on improving your energy levels is essential. Because you can train your brain all you want. If your body doesn't feel good and you don't have the energy levels that you need to function and to do what you need to do, well, you're going to have a hard time doing it. At the end of the day, the mind and the body are connected. There's this correlation that's inseparable between both of them. And if you really want to notice change, it's really good to work on both of them. So I usually have a micro goal. So have a minimal goal of how you will work on physical improvement. And I'm not saying that as if you need to go to the gym for an hour and a half every day. No. I have days where I don't go to the gym, but I work on physical improvement. So what do? And this is a habit that I've been doing for a while, and maybe some of you would want to implement. When I wake up in the morning and I get out of bed, first thing I do is I stretch my body. See, when you wake up in the morning, you need to wake up your mind and you need to wake up your body. So you stand up and you just do some stretching for 2-3 minutes. Yes, this is physical improvement. Research has found that doing even mild stretching for 3 to 5 minutes tends to increase dopamine levels and puts your body in better shape and better flexibility. So, this is a habit that you might want to consider, and it doesn't take a lot of time. But if you want to take it up a notch and also go to the gym, maybe not every day, maybe 5 days a week, 3 days a week, also, I would highly recommend that. And just a quick thought about this. There was a lot of studies done on IQ levels, and it was found that, close to the age of 30, around there, a bit less, a bit more, our IQ levels would start to decrease. And the only thing that researchers found so far that can help us, control the decrease of IQ or, kind of not stop it. You can't stop it, but you can monitor it, you can regulate it, and you can work on it better. and they found that it was physical improvement. When you work on your body, when you keep your body active and you indulge in fitness, whether it's body weight exercises or weightlifting, whatever it is, cardio, HIIT exercises, keep it going because your body needs it. You're going to feel energy levels that are just out of the roof. If anything, you'll get in better shape and you'll feel better about yourself. And now, lastly, I'm going to talk about some other habits that you can also implement. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of habits at you, and maybe you want to implement all of them, and maybe you just want to implement one. But whatever you do, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't write a list of all these habits I just talked about and be like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to start doing all of those. Because you're setting up yourself to failure. Work it up 1 or 2 or 3 habits at a time, not more. See how much you can handle. And then start working on them slowly but surely, consistently. When you pick 3 habits and then you master them and then you're sure that, you're going to stick with those habits and they're part of your lifestyle, now you can start implementing more and more until you reach the point where you have all the habits that you desire in your life. But the first habit I want to talk about, which is cold showers. And I'm not even going to talk about the benefits of cold showers because you can just, if you're curious to know why I think cold showers is an important habit, just Google it and see how useful it can be. Wim Hof he's called the Iceman, and he focuses on cold showers a lot because put everything aside, all the benefits, the decreased depression, decreased anxiety, and the boost in hormone levels and all that, it basically targets your reptile brain. So when you have a cold shower, you wake up. You wake up, especially if you have a cold shower in the morning. Like, even if you wake up and you're feeling a bit annoyed and a bit depressed, if you have a cold shower, it's going to wake you up like crazy. So that's the first one I want to recommend. Another one is make your bed every morning. There's a Marine, a U.S. Marine, who had a speech, and he talked about this. He said, if you want to be successful, make your bed every morning because you would have accomplished the first task of the day. And if you had a bad day, at least you'll go back to a bed that is well made. You'll go back to success. And that's a habit I personally do every single morning. When I wake up, I'd make my bed, and I highly recommend you do it. It can set you in a different mindset. The Wim Hof breathing method. If you're interested in learning more about the Wim Hof breathing method, it kind of goes along with cold showers, but you can do it separately. It's amazing. You can look it up on Google. He has a guided meditation session that you can use that's highly effective. And yoga and stretching, obviously, if you want to do it in the morning or any time in the day, it can be used as a mindfulness exercise or just a way to wake up your body and get in better shape and just get more flexibility and agility. Now, the last 3 are more focused on your emotions and mindset. First, having a to feel list. So you want to write down a list of all the emotions that you want to experience in your life and pick up the habit of reading that list every day. When you read the list and you get familiar with the emotions that you want to feel, your brain will get to a point where you can selectively be conscious of the emotions you're feeling and reinforce the emotions that you wrote down. Also, the to-be list, which is more of a list linked to your vision. You wanna write a list of who you want to be. You want to be a leader. You want to be confident. You want to be courageous. You write down what you want to be. It's kind of also related to the to feel list. So you might want to combine both of them together. But it's also important because your brain is going to get familiar with it, and you're going to start familiarizing yourself and your environment with it, and start subconsciously implementing those changes in your life. Last thing I want to talk about, which is visualization and conscious affirmations. Visualization is basically when you have a life vision, and this is something that a lot of successful people talk about. You need to have a vision for your life, and if you are enrolled in my advanced course, there's going to be a section where I break down your life vision and your goals into in details, and we're going to go more through that later on. But visualization is basically you will sit comfortably somewhere, close your eyes, and visualize the life you want to live, just to set yourself up in a different mindset, in the mindset of the person you want to be in the future. Also conscious affirmations, and I gave the example of Tony Robbins when he went on a run, and he went on a run every day for about 40 minutes, and he'd repeat the affirmation saying, I'm unstoppable, I'm unstoppable, I'm unstoppable. And he says, guess what's going to be stuck in my head after a month of doing that? So there's a lot of psychological research about affirmations that talk about whether they work or not. And they only work when they are accompanied by emotional reactions. So if you say to yourself, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, but like deep down you're feeling drained and you're feeling sad, your brain is not going to believe you. Like the affirmations are not going to be effective. You only use affirmations effectively when you start embracing, and not just embracing, but kind of embodying the affirmations. You want to embody the affirmation in a way where you feel the emotion of what you're saying. And a good way to do that is to combine it with visualization. So while you're visualizing something and you're seeing imagery that's emotionally stimulating, you can start repeating your affirmations. So this is you kind of, hitting two birds with one rock, kind of taking advantage of two habits and combining them into one. And if you do it and you embody the emotion as you say the affirmations, this can be a habit that's also life-changing. I know there was a lot of habits that I talked to you about in this lecture. And as I said, pick up some of them, a few of them, and start implementing them if you like them. And I hope you enjoyed this lecture. I'll see you all in the next one.